Hello guys, welcome to the HVAC Diaries. Today is Friday, August 11th, and this is my weekly HVAC vlog, brought to you and sponsored by New Calgon. So I'm actually recording this vlog Friday morning before work. I've got a really busy weekend this weekend, so I just want to get this done early. But I do have a continuation. Well, hopefully I'm going to have a conclusion to yesterday's job. Actually, why don't I just tell you about it now? So yesterday we were called to a place, the air conditioner was not working. And they've got a split unit, which means they've got a rooftop condensing unit and an indoor air handler. So when we got there, we went onto the roof to check it out, and the condensing unit on the roof, actually the whole system is really old. It's like about a 25-year-old system. It's really old. The condenser on the roof doesn't have any safeties on it. There's no low pressure, there's no high pressure safeties. So when we turned on the system to test it out, the compressor was running without a condenser fan. And if you're not familiar with HVAC, that condenser fan is vital. Actually, all the components are vital to the system, but if there's no air movement, high pressure is created. So there's no safety switches. So this compressor was just running and getting higher and higher and higher in pressure and just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. In fact, the unit itself, like the casing, the housing of the unit itself was hot to the touch. You could barely touch it. It was so hot. And then it finally tripped on its internal overload. What we found was the capacitor, the fan capacitor was busted, so we replaced the fan capacitor. The fan started up right away, but the compressor did not start up right away. And it's because of that internal overload. So this compressor could either start up today after it's cooled down. Sometimes they take within an hour to 6 hours to cool down and restart. Or it could be completely dead. But working there yesterday was such a treat. It's in a different city, which is about a 45-minute drive from here, and we're working on the roof, and they have an air show this weekend, and there were a couple of fighter jets that were flying around. They came over us a number of times, and they were so loud, and it was very exciting to see the fighter jets flying around. Holy crap! That was so loud! It wouldn't be a proper week in HVAC Jess land or the HVAC Diaries land without some water source heat pump units. We looked at a few of them this week. One of them was quick and easy. It was also just a capacitor. The blower motor wasn't working, so we had to go into this office where this guy was on a Zoom call, but he waves us in. He's like, come on in. So we scurry in there really quietly, and he says to his Zoom call, he's like, oh, I've just got some people here looking at the air conditioner. If you can just ignore them, that'd be great. But we're literally right behind him in his camera view, just this is not awkward at all. So we're trying to work really quietly. So my dad pulls out the capacitor and passes it down to me, and I test it, and as quietly as I can to him, I say, it's 1.33 out of 10. And so the guy whips it around. He goes, is that good or bad? And so I'm like, well, it's bad. The capacitor is dead. And he goes, oh no. But I'm like, but it's good because the capacitor is the quickest, easiest, cheapest thing that we can replace. We've got one in our truck. We could probably get you up and running today if that's all it is. And he goes, oh, okay. And then turns back to his Zoom call and carries on. Such a roller coaster of emotions. Good. Yes. So that was a quick and easy one. The second one was not as quick and easy. So this one we actually had to pull out of the ceiling space, because anytime we have to do any work on any of these water source heat pump units in this building, we have to pull it out of the ceiling because there's no space to work on it. There's zero space around us. Actually, this is how we had to take it down. So, got her all disconnected, took her down, took her outside, and this time we were looking for a refrigerant leak. And when we opened the lid of this unit, we kind of use all of our senses in HVAC. So we saw a lot of oil residue on the evaporator coil. So that's kind of where we focused our efforts. So we were checking for leaks all over that evaporator coil. Our digital leak detector, our sniffer, didn't pick up anything at all. We bumped up the pressure to about 300 psi, still nothing. Sometimes you can hear it, sometimes it'll be a little hiss, but nothing like that at all. Still nothing on the digital leak detector. And then my dad had the great idea of using a heat gun to heat up the evaporator coil to see if that would expand the pipes or do any kind of indication of a leak. And our leak detector went nuts when that smoke came out. And I was concerned that we were sniffing refrigerant fumes that were coming out of the smoke of like the oil that was burning off. But we tested it in a bit of the smoke that was kind of outside of the area, and it didn't pick it up there. But right down in the coil it did. So we were focusing on the corner on the bottom. We pulled out a few of the fins to expose the pipe, to see if we could see anything at all. But again, we couldn't see anything. We couldn't sniff anything with our sniffer, and we sprayed a little bit of it with soap, but that leak could have been anywhere on that evaporator coil, so we were also back at our packaging factory this week. There's lots of work there for us to do, both in the factory and on the roof with the HVAC. But so this time we were working on a big printing machine that has multiple chillers on it. There's really large chillers. But this one chiller, it's small and it's floor standing, and it serves the UV section of the printing machine. So they've got UV coatings that go on, and it keeps it cool, chills it. Anyway, they replaced that unit in March, I believe, and shortly after it was replaced, the compressor just stopped pumping one day. It was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. So luckily it was all under warranty. It's very new. So they sent a replacement one. And these specific chillers are kind of like plug and play. There's no refrigeration when we install them. They come in complete. We just have to put the water in, water out, and then fill up with glycol. So because the old one was so new, we pulled out the glycol water mixture, held it in a little container, and then put it into the new one. So we didn't use new glycol and water and everything, and we just reused that. And then we also had to wire in a very special plug, like it's very, here. This chiller operates between, it's very small parameters. It operates between like 18 and 21 degrees Celsius. And it just keeps, I don't know totally how it works or what it does, but it keeps the UV coating or whatever that goes onto these sheets cool. Also, I cleaned a condenser coil for a walk-in liquor store cooler. It's located in the underground parking lot, and it's just suspended from the ceiling. So Trevor came with me to help me just because of where it's located, and so we had two ladders together, and he was basically my support. He was holding my stuff while I was spraying, and anyway, we had to wear masks because there's so much dust. So much exhaust dust and fumes on those coils. Anyway, they're clean now. had another industrial job. We worked at a concrete factory. Hey guys, so I'm finished work for the day. As you can see, I'm quite dirty and gross. We did an industrial job today, which I'll tell you about in a second, but I've got to hurry this really quickly because my phone overheats when I try to record in the afternoons in summertime, so let's make this snappy. So today's industrial job, we worked at a metal foundry and we did a major maintenance on a Kaiser air dryer. We replaced all the filters, the gaskets, and all of the components in the little drain assembly. Last time we did this maintenance, I did the same part. There's a filter housing with 4 filters inside of it, and they're held down by a very big, strong spring, and that spring is held down by a very heavy plate with 8 bolts around it. I tightened those bolts last time, but it took my entire body weight to get them loose today. And I could probably have worked a little bit smarter than I did, but I was a bit lazy. I didn't go back to the truck and get a different wrench, like a longer wrench to give me more torque. So I've struggled through it, but you guys, I did it. other job that was a bit of a concern from yesterday, we heard from them. The compressor started this morning, so we are good to go there. Thank goodness, because replacing that system is going to be such a nightmare, which we'll probably have to face one day, but not today. All right, guys, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog. Thank you to New Calgon for their generous sponsorship. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I'm off to do some summery things to get the last bit of summer out of it. I can't believe we're in August already. Oh my goodness. Thank you again. Have the best time. See you next week. Bye.